light is not blinking. But in Nigeria, we are not having stable light. Yet, Nigeria gives light power to Benin Republic. You know the ties that, you know, we bear with Benin Republic because of the waterways that supply to the Kainji Dam. And whatever agreement Nigeria has to supply them power, why that water still? Because they have not created any dam of such magnitude. So we had a good relationship, you know, flowing with that. Most of the Beninois presidents in the past have attested to the fact that their umbilical cord, perhaps, is partly Nigeria.
It's deeply rooted in Nigeria.
Yeah. And you can see that I can beat my chest. In the past, 90% of the used cars imported, you know, through into Benin Republic, 90% of them come to Nigeria because they don't even have that capacity to buy as many cars as Nigerians are buying. We have the population. They don't have such population. We have very rich people. They don't have that. And when you go into Nigeria, I mean, you go to Cotonou without fear of any contradiction. 70% of the economic power in Cotonou is Nigeria owned. Most Nigerians own properties and businesses that are running in that makes Cotonou what it is. So you can imagine, even when we had our own boys, militants going up and down here, people like Asare Dokubo, at the moment he was granted amnesty and they gave him some money, where did he go to invest? It was Cotonou he went and built university. So Nigeria has a lot investment in there, and there is every need to protect it. So if this is part of what played out, I wouldn't be surprised about it. This is another angle to it anyway. But Benin has been a very close brother. Age-wise of independence, I think we are not far from each other. If I thought they didn't get independence before us, maybe they had theirs in August and we had ours in October. So you can see we are close, but they are not that the type of people Nigerians are. The DNA that runs a Nigerian is quite different from the DNA of a Beninois.
So because of all of this politics and all of these business benefits,
yes,
ECOWAS was quick
to
swift into action.
We won't say that because of...
I'm trying to get you to, because you've said that Nigerian, literally, Nigerian umbilical cord is planted in Benin. Same with Benin. There's a reversal case. Usually the Egun people from Badagry have more relationship with the people from Benin. But looking at all of this put together, the swiftness of ECOWAS, one would begin to ask, Nigeria had a coup d'etat, Burkina Faso experienced coup, and also Mali have had its fair share. ECOWAS literally did not swift into action. We saw Nigerian armored tanks, we saw Nigerian Air Force.
ECOWAS that acted swiftly, or was it Nigeria that acted swiftly?
There was a meeting held, even speaking of even ECOWAS and Nigerian as a meeting, you recall that Nigeria is just behind us here.
Yeah.
Even as such, we also share some economic fraternity.
Yes.
And as such, one would have expected Nigeria to intervene in Benin Republic, just like we did in Nigeria, like what we did with Benin Republic. But we didn't see that happen.
Okay.
At this point, can we say that the ECOWAS is sectionalized?
Now the two playing and not having the same experience. The kind of experience we had with Niger, already you know that there is a kind of a mixed feeling about Niger and Nigeria. As much as we have, some affinity with the Nigerians, especially our people from the northern part of Nigeria, we also had this mix-up with the issue of Boko Haram that played around the north. And of course, that axis was seen to have either aided, the Boko Haram to succeed in the northern part of Nigeria. It's not the same coming from the west, from the west. Now, talking about ECOWAS acting swiftly, or because I feel there is a mix-up, is it ECOWAS that acted swiftly?
ECOWAS
or
released a statement.
Nigeria
ECOWAS
that
released a
acted?
statement immediately, condemning the coup.
Good.
Almost instantly. That coup happened in the morning.
ECOWAS equally condemned.
Automatically, ECOMOG moved swiftly into action.
Good. ECOWAS equally condemned the coup.
How many
d'etat.
hours intervals?
And it doesn't matter how many hours, but the fact
They
remains,
condemned without intervention.
the
But in the
fact-
case of Benin, they condemned and swift into action. Is this favoritism?
No, there's no favoritism there. I don't want to go into looking. It sounds petty to look at them from that point of view, whether ECOWAS is acting, act of favoritism. Mind you, what played out within this period, having Mali and the
Burkina
Faso to play whatever played out. Remember, some of them rejected the leadership of ECOWAS then. They rejected the leadership of ECOWAS. And at that point, where you are rejecting the leadership of such union, you do not expect such union to also act swiftly in your state. You don't expect it. So, and we have not had such from this side. Nigeria acting swiftly is a fine thing. At least it has given the low-minded Nigerians who think that Nigeria is already gone, Nigeria is down, to know that Nigeria can do something. But there are enabling laws and some politics that are playing around and that is keeping Nigeria, looking as though she cannot help herself.
Now, speaking of Nigeria and helping herself, we've been battling with insecurity across the country. And President Obasanjo have said that insecurity is almost becoming, the issue around Boko Haram is becoming even as old as Nigeria because it keeps metamorphosing. Insecurity in the North Central, in the entire Northeast, is something to write home about. But then the swiftness of Nigeria to intervene in that of Benin Republic attempted coup, what does this speak even to ECOWAS and Nigeria on a regional basis? Is that the ECOWAS cannot come together to fight and comb insurgencies in West Africa, or this ECOMOG coming together to assist Nigeria to comb this insurgency? The swiftness of this again, does this mean that Nigerian only protects its own interests on the international front base, but then within the Nigerian home affairs will tend to look the other way? What does this say about our internal security?
Well, you see, it is quite a complex issue to look at. And as complex as it is, we need to sift and actually know the differences and the edges that are built around each issue. Now, when you talk about insurgency, it's one thing. When you are talking about the issues that ECOMOG get into with the decisions coming from Ecowas, it's another thing, because you are dealing with the West African country as a whole. Now, if you are eating or fighting with your wife, for instance, in the house, and lo and behold, you hear fire, fire outside, you will definitely leave that fight you are fighting with your wife and go and quench that fire outside. It will happen swiftly without you understanding how it goes. Now, when you look at this instance that I've given, then come to look at the issues of ECOWAS powers, ECOMOG, and then the insurgency in Nigeria. Now, ECOMOG is Nigeria, and Nigeria is ECOMOG.
And ECOMOG cannot comb insurgency in Nigeria, even as ECOMOG is Nigeria.
I'm coming.
No, please go ahead.
All African countries will attest to the fact that without Nigeria, there is no ECOMOG. No other African country can go out to do anything without Nigeria. One, they do not have the capacity that Nigeria can pull out for anything. Who funds ECOMOG? Is Nigeria. Nigeria funds ECOMOG. Now, when you come to the issue of insurgency, insurgency is not a war. Insurgency is not a situation whereby you have identified the enemy of the state and you can point out where the enemy of the state is. Insurgency comes to play and brings itself, it comes like, if you know the animal called a chameleon, it hides itself inside, it comes into and play and lives with you, you know, and pretends about so many things. So, and who are those people who carry out this issue of insurgency? It is people who are in power themselves. Government officials are those who fund insurgency.
Allegedly.
Whether you call it allegedly or not, I may not have anyone to prove, but what is playing in Nigeria today, we can look at and know, because at some point names are being mentioned. These issues are before the security people. Now, you cannot, the commander-in-chief, for instance, cannot give order to go and bomb a place where you perceive there is insurgency playing there. Why? Because those hoodlums, whether you call them bandits, whether you call them Boko Haram, whatever name you call them, are living with the people. And because they are living with the people, you cannot, of course, the international law will not even allow you to use military force on them. Now, but if you identify, they are identified at some point where they are originally camped. Good. The military knows what to do concerning that. But then, when they identify them, where you now begin to ask questions is, where they identify this, why don't they carry out, or why don't they do the needful? You now see that there are people who are funding them, the kind of machines they are carrying around, who feed them, who drop we see all these, you know, helicopters dropping. You see people coming into the country and showing themselves and all that. It is now left for the country to take specific decisions against them, which they have not done. Have you seen them arguing it in the floor of the Senate to take decisive decisions against these people? Why? Because they are part of it. And who is ready to stick his neck by bringing it out at the floor of the Senate to say, this is what they should do? They know themselves. They are not able to point out and say, you, Sunday, you are the one who is doing this. They know themselves. And so, where the leadership is part of insurgency, you cannot carry out a swift action. They are there to protect their votes. They are there to protect their tenures within the... And that is where you see that coup d'etat becomes an alternative, that people who are lost will begin to think that, okay, I think this is it. But let me tell you something. It may not be something that is known to be a coup. But you see, this idea of politicians jumping and leaving their political parties even when they won elections and are holding cards of a particular party, and now they are moving into the ruling party to be there. It's also part of coup d'etat.
So we call that political coup d'etat.
Yes.
Oh, all right. We'll come back to that. But then in the switch of events, we saw people from Benin, especially the youth, were excited about the coup d'etat. But then, does this again reflect the dissatisfaction of the military and the citizens? If the citizens, the Beninans, are excited about the coup?
What we should look at is not how excited the people are, is what is the giving of the coup d'etat. What was the giving? If you have the clip, play it for Nigerians to see and say, what was the giving? Those who carried out this coup, what are they saying? Of course, the president that is there has been there for the past 9 years. And it is expected maybe by next year they are going into another election. So what is playing? I want us to look beyond what is playing within Benin. In the past, Benin were not as wise as Nigerians. The first time I entered Benin Republic, I went with 500,000. And I came back to Nigeria with 3 cars. That, including my hotel, or whatever I spent, I even bought things within that 500,000. I came back with 3 cars. Clearing the cars and all that. I passed through Zemen, did proper documentation. How is it today? Even if you carry 5 million today, you cannot bring 1 car out from their place. The economy has changed. In as much as you devalue the Nigerian currency and it appeared to be better for the Francophone countries, they are feeling it more. In the sense that they could have the CFA, and so long as the Nigerian brick border is not coming with a good
exchange
buying force, whatever they have there, they cannot use it. Nigeria, Benin economy was very stable and was growing gradually. They were all using cellular phones in the 80s. Nigerians were not. But as it is today, I could remember one of the times I was crossing, they would tell you, they say, before Nigeria thief Benin, but today Benin thief Nigeria plenty. That's for those who cannot speak English very well. Now, what does that tell you? That they were actually growing. But the kind of life they live, there's the well-being of the people is very paramount among the Benin people. And if the leadership, had a misgiving or drifts from that well-being of the people, of course the people will feel it and they will react. Whether the military were right in carrying out coup d'etat is another thing. But I want this on record that there is no coup d'etat in Africa that does not have an international influence on colorations. And before any coup d'etat, you see that they have some backings of some foreign interests that leads them. And where a government in Africa is not benefiting the international community, they also plot, incite, our people to carry out coup.
Well, Doctor, let's come back home. There have been a lot of speculations that says that Nigeria got involved even in the coup. Nigerians intervened in order to ensure that the coup is not successful. Because Benin is not just a brother country to Nigeria, but then this coup has come home. So if there's a coup that succeeded in Nigeria, there's a coup that is being plotted and almost succeeded in Benin Republic, the next turn will be that of Nigeria. So Nigeria have to set the record straight by intervening. But if you're looking at all of this, so how correct is these assertions and speculations?
It's completely wrong. Absolutely wrong. Nigerians, or Nigeria as a sovereign nation, does not need the collaboration of any of these countries to carry out such acts.
So in a situation where the coup is around Nigeria's borders,
they understand.
What's the possibility that Nigeria is not going to be the next target? Nigerian army will not wake up one morning understanding fully well that other West African countries have been toppled. Their government have been toppled, and as such, they want to also seize power from a constituted authority. Yeah,
you see, Nigeria is a peculiar country. And if you look at the succession of coups that has ever occurred in Nigeria, from the 60s, the 70s, the coup in the 60s that led to the Civil War, the coup that took off, that is Dimka's coup, that took off Murtala, the coup that brought in late Buhari, the coup that took Buhari set him aside, and then transition into civilian, then military coming into play again. You see that Nigeria grew through a kind of developmental plan. Because with the governance in the hand of the military, then there was a national development plan. The military in Nigeria had a national development plan. We were, Nigerians at some point got confused by academic, rhetorics of talking about the, military regime not being a good one and all that. Are you getting me? Which is a different discussion altogether. But when you look at what led each of these succession of coup in Nigeria in the past was based on national development plan and to keep Nigeria one. To keep Nigeria one and to develop Nigeria. When you go away from that stride, the military brothers will come on you or try to find out another way out of it. Now, it is not the same with what is playing around where the civilian governments, in the name of democracy, trying to practice democracy, that one, they don't even understand the tenets of democracy very well. And two, they have bastardized, democracy in a manner that you can't make comparison with best practices of democracy in every other countries of the world. And so, where you see these issues, playing, you cannot sit up to say that, okay, because there is coup in the northern part of Africa, Western, it's coming from Niger, and then it will go to, now it's happening in Benin. The next thing it will happen in Nigeria. No. Even before Benin own came, did we not perceive something of such nature recently, and whether it was true or not, it came to pass. And so every country that has experienced coup based on their peculiar problems. Not banked on an issue whereby it has to roll from one country to another. Then, if that is the case, it means that it is no longer an internal thing. It means that some external forces are trying to do that. But you see, and I want to say this without fear of contradiction and to encourage every Nigerian, that Nigeria is a unique country in the world. The only thing here is that we have misplaced our priorities. Nigeria should have been leading Africa today, because Nigeria has been the envy of the world, the envy of Africa. And because we missed it in our leadership stride, that is where, these things are coming, and now you can now make comparison with Nigeria and Benin. What's the population of Benin? I don't think it's more than 29 million people. Benin, so if you take Lagos alone, compared to the whole of Benin, Ghana is how many? What's the population of Ghana? I don't think it's up to 35 million. Well, so these countries we are mentioning are not countries to make comparison with Nigeria. Nigeria in population, we have it. If you come to resources, we have both human and natural resources good enough to lead the whole of Africa. But have we sat down to carry out development plans that will affect the well-being of Nigerians positively and grow Nigerians. Recently, my students asked me a question when I was trying to encourage them that, you see, this is our country, we must lead, we must, sacrifice for our country. And the student says, sir, what is there to sacrifice for a country? That from kindergartens, his parents were paying school fees. They finished paying school fees. To secondary school, they pay school fees. Now, even to enter university, they had to bribe to enter university. You bribe to read a course, and they even give you a course that you didn't even apply for. And then, at the end of the day, you are graduating. To go for youth service, you are still paying and suffering. All that, you come out, there is no job. You are struggling to do. So, what is there for a Nigerian to actually, sit up and say, I am a Nigerian, I can die for Nigeria? That was a tough question. And I had to calm them down, and I said, look, that you went through all that does not mean that you should not love that. Ask them a question. Your mother cooks bad soup some days, isn't it? They say yes. The days she cooks good soup, isn't it? They say yes, good. So if you can eat bad soup from your mother, has it stopped it from being your mother? It has not stopped her from being your mother. So Nigeria is your country. As you have grown up through a tough terrain, all I want to see is you come up to change the narrative and make Nigeria better. Because those who are there today studied without paying 1 naira. Most of the professors we have today studied without paying 2,000 naira to have a PhD. But today you spend so much. Most of the ministers we have today, members of the National Assembly, went through scholarships, went through free education, almost free education in this country, if I may put it. And in those days, you walk into the university. As you get into the university, they are giving you meal ticket. Meal ticket. And the whole meal ticket for the semester may not be up to 15 naira. I'm even talking 15 naira. Some 20 naira. And you eat 3 meals out of 20 naira.
Well, Doctor, before you take us back to the historical part, let's even get you react, because I understand our time is fast spent. Let's talk.
I was trying to bring this narrative to a point.
All right.
Where when you see things driving this way, of course, the country is dwindling. It's becoming so poor. So such that if you get into the military barracks, how many soldiers can put their children in the university? How many soldiers can send their children to school? Meanwhile, the same soldiers are being killed through insurgency. The same soldiers are not being respected. The same soldiers who should defend the territory of this country. So I'm trying to open to you issues that are peculiar, that create room for coup d'etats to play. So if you see that what people are jubilating in Benin, is it those who are in the National Assembly in Benin that were jubilating? Is it those who are in the House of Assemblies that were jubilating? Is it the governors in Benin that are jubilating? No. It is a poor man on the street that could possibly do that. The question is, African leaders, where is Ubuntu? African leaders, where is humanity? Leadership is all about leading humanity. And if any African leader is not leading the people to achieve the well-being, the common thing for them to see food and eat and drink, then leave the stage. You are not worthy of being a leader.
All right, Doctor. Amazing. there. But then let's talk about the various blocs in Africa. Talk about the African Union, the Ecowas, even the United Nations. Of course, most African countries are parties and in that Charter of 1945. But again, what roles can the international community play, knowing fully well that coup attacks right now in Africa, especially West Africa, is becoming more of a reoccurring phenomenon and a common decimal factor within our political space? What roles can these international blocs and international bodies play in order to prevent further coup attempts in Africa?
Thank you very much. In the first place, talking about what role that international communities should play in order to deter coup is a fallacy. Fallacy in the sense that the international community does not do anything FOC, free of charge. Wherever the international community is coming in to do anything, if America is going to give help to anybody, they are capitalist oriented. And so if they are coming out to help you for anything, they are also looking at what they will get, what you have, and what they can gain from you.
So like an imperialist mindset. Imperialism.
Of course, they are imperialists, so it's not about whether there is imperialist mindset or not. Like I said, they are capitalists. And if they are putting in, it's different from the way. You see, Ecowas was playing Big Brother in Nigeria, in Africa. Ask the question. Nigeria was in Lebanon in the 80s. What did Nigeria gain for keeping peace in Lebanon? Nigeria was in Somalia. What did you get as a return? Nigeria was in Liberia. Liberia is here in Africa. Nigeria funded Liberia. In Sierra Leone, we lost men until Nigeria did what she could do and kept Sierra Leone where they belong. I love my country, Nigeria. God has given us the wherewithal to help the world, but we have not used that to help ourselves. Now, this United Nations and all that, if you listen to Fela's music very well, he said, who and who unite in United Nations? The same United Nations know themselves. They know that Nigeria has good resources. Why have they not protected Nigeria in a manner that Nigeria should use what we have for the good of Nigeria? Why are our refineries down? Why can't we modify our knowledge of the refinery, even the local refinery? Why can't we do the Ogbunigwe and make it an international weapon? They kill our ideas. So international community, whether you call them EU, UN, and all that, they are not actually there to help you per se. They give to you with one hand, they collect with the other hand. And the best they can do is to tell you, we'll bring you to our country. They take our people away and take away the best. When you go out there, the best of our men are working there, and they give you the space for you to actually give out your best. Has your country given you the space to give out your best? If you come out now, that you know better than anybody, it becomes a problem. If you come out now, if you look at maybe promote, when you want to promote people, you promote some people who are on the same class, you promote some and left some. You go into the ranks of generals, you promote some and you left some. Are you not creating problem for yourself? Why would you promote some generals and leave some? Is that done in best countries in the world?
Well, doctor,
are you getting me?
Yeah, doctor.
You come to people who, you have professors, people who are waiting to get into the rank of professorship. They have all the texts, and you're telling them that promotion is based on availability of what?
All right, Prof.
So these are issues
doctor,
that are endemic in our
system. Doctor, at this point, I've been signaled that our time is fast spent. I wish we have all day to put these issues in perspective. Really, this direction you're taking us to right now, looking at it, that the international community has no role to play even to address some pressing concern in Africa. But at this point, I want to say thank you so much, Dr. Peter Edeh, for finding out time to be with us here on Korero.
Thank you very much. And I pray that Nigeria gets better. Yes. And all those who are longing to lead Nigeria as a servant leader.
All right. Well, Doctor, thank you so much for your time. But viewer, this is how far we can go on the show. Don't forget that you can follow us and join the conversation on our various social media platform currently showing on your screen. And you can also download the Rapid TV app from your Android and iOS devices to keep track of our broadcasts. My name is Godwin Sunday. Do enjoy the rest of your evening. Bye for now.